سيلاقينا سوف ينتهي العذاب نعبر والدموع وهناك في السماء سيلاقينا 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 يسوع.
تفضلوا بالجلوس. شكرا كثير للكنيسة، شكرا للكلمات المعبرة. ومرة تانية بنعزي روحنا وبنعزي الأسرة الكريمة وبنعزي الأسرة الكبيرة، أسرة البترول في جنوب السودان، وبنعزي الدولة كلها على الفك الكبير. السادة الحضور، بنرحب بسعادة الموقر حسين عبد الباقي أقال نائب رئيس الجمهورية لشؤون الخدمات، وهو في يوم الليلة جاي يعزينا نيابة عن رئيس الجمهورية السيد سلفا كير مياريت. بنرحب بكل السادة وبكل الموقرين المعانا في يوم الليلة، في يوم حزننا وفي يوم بكانا وفي يوم العزاء حقنا على الفك الكبير، فقدنا لباشمهندس بول أدون بيت. بنرحب بالسادة الحضور ستيفانوس وملك رئيس إدارية روين، وبنرحب بالعضو الموقر ميري أيان ميجوك رئيس مجلس الولايات. بنرحب بستيفن داو وزير الأسبق في وزارة المالية والتخطيط الاقتصادي. بنرحب برضو بجشوى داو عضو مجلس الولايات. وبنرحب بالفريق شولتون فالوك نائب وزير الدفاع. بنرحب بشول دينتون مدير عام شركة النيل للبترول والغاز. بنرحب بشجور أدونغ شجور مستشار. بنرحب بمجارجيت هادير مستشار في وزارة البترول. بنرحب برضو بشركة جيبوك. بنرحب بنائب رئيس شركة جيبوك. بنرحب بويليام دينغ نائب رئيس شركة ديبوك دار بتروليوم. بنرحب بكل الحضور وكل الأماكن وكل البروتوكولات في محلها إن شاء الله. بنرحب بالمهندس ديو شارو نائب رئيس شركة أسبوك للبترول. بنرحب بالموقر دير تونغور المحافظ الأسبق للبنك المركزي. بنرحب بمالون تونغور وزير المالية في إدارية أبيي. سادة الحضور، بنرحب بوزير المالية ووزير التربية والتعليم في إدارية روين. بنرحب بالموقر مولال تاب ديو وزير المالية في ولاية الوحدة. بنرحب برضو بالموقر لام تونغوار وزير البناء التحتية ولاية الوحدة. بنرحب بكل أصدقاء المهندس فولودون على رأسهم مييك دكتور مييك كوريون وكل الأسرة وكل الأصدقاء. رسالة الحضور، بنرحب بالموقر جيمس هوز ماي وزير العمل والخدمة العامة. كما بنرحب بسفير مياندود وكيل وزارة الخارجية والعلاقات الدولية. بنرحب بتيوب ميلواغ مولانا. بنرحب بالموقر أكوي أمويتين عضو البرلمان القومي. بنرحب بالموقر أتين ويغاتين السكرتير الصحفي السابق لمكتب الرئيس. برضو بنرحب بالمهندس بولرين مورويل المدير العام لشركة النيل لعمليات البترول والغاز. برضو بنرحب بجوزيف كوليتو بيل المدير السابق لشركة النيل للبترول والغاز. السادة الحضور، بنرحب بكم كلكم وبنرحب بمجانا غوداتيم نائب وزير الدفاع السابق. برضو بنرحب بكاميرا لام في تربوث الأمين العام المكلف للحركة الشعبية. سادة الحضور، بنرحب بكم وشكرا على حضوركم، ونتمنى أن نقضي مع بعض زمن بيقوينا وبيشجعنا وبيصبرنا على حزننا.
Nyalich yene ra ler nyalich yene koj bai nyalich yene koj ler ya brin ke nyalich bike ga lech achin man ngi yogo ne ko le tong mo nyang along the one mazda ran ti pye pol Adong Bith Deng yene to koj tore tene bu koj ben long ne biak de pol Adong die ko le pe tok tier ku daraw pe ne di runu tiam tok wat ka dongan jo bana te daraw ku di yene jël ñen ko la pe tok tier ku bet pe ne tam runu tim ke ro ku tiro kuro acin man ngi woge fir ne nyale tonda ku pira woge fir ne nyale yene ya woge fir woge to ne nyale kin man chi gor awore git enon chin ke di bugu lwel era non be pir de wan wanta be ben kwen yena bugu chol awore kana chi tek ko nyun ter na to ke yin ku chayen yok ena awore kana na to pir wan ma da tin wogran choran be ben kwen kwati nga chi bu kwen ben bung di da go de ka ti be ko ben loj tin ni ke le ko biak de pir de wan ma da chen pir ku nom ku jo ya pye de ka ken no ne ke chi ke loy chin man chawa gen ting de ben ni chi ko ben de na de jur pa de ko ko pe biak de lon den wan ne chi loy en onora ne en ba chol e wan ma da dictor Santino ayel longar e yena bu ben twen pa bu pir wan ma da abu ben kwen ku yen abu kwen ay ka wone ke ka kor bu ka ping ku yin bi jo ko ne tena ya to don to win tin wo pi de bangi je ben yene ya dang ni bihak de re tena ame matoki biak dia to mountain biak ro to mountain biak ke biak chap
بعتذر يا جماعة معلش مربوكة شوية الليلة يوم صعب والله. نحن قلنا إنه أتين وغاتين هو سابق هو سابق وحاليا شغال. معلش يا أتين لو خصموا منك مرتب يوم الليلة معلش. شكرا كتير.
Your Excellency, Hussein Abdel Baghi Ayi, Vice President for Service Cluster, all government officials and dignitaries, Ms. Sarah Alang, the spouse of late engineer Paul Adong Bith, and the children, Mama of late engineer Paul Adong, other family members, friends, colleagues, and co-workers of late engineer Paul Adong, people and friends of Ruweng, all fellow South Sudanese in attendance, and those watching this occasion live from near and far. Allow me to begin my remarks with an Abraham Lincoln sage who said, "I like to see a man or woman proud of the place in which he or she lives. I like to see a man or a woman live so that his place or her place will be proud of him or her while he or she is gone." This quote is befitting of and personifies who the late Paul engineer Adong Bith Deng was. Today we are mourning and celebrating the life of a son, brother, cousin, uncle, friend, co-worker, and employer, a young man who has left us in mysterious circumstances, circumstances that leave us with more questions than answers. We are mourning because Engineer Paul Adong was a young man whose flower has just begun to blossom. That is, his sun began to shine, but only for a very short period of time. We are also celebrating his life because even though his sun shone for a very short period of time, his positive impacts permeated across the corners of this country and beyond. There is so much that one can say about Engineer Paul Adong, but in the interest of time, I'll let his biography speak for him. As said earlier on, the biography is long, and you may have to read it at your later time. But let's select a few of his life. So let's begin with the introduction. This is a snapshot of life, education, professional backgrounds, experience and achievements of late Engineer Paul Adong Bith Deng, a charismatic and visionary young man who left this world so soon, yet in mysterious circumstances that leave more questions than answers. Engineer Adong was a son of Bith Deng and Nyibol Minyil Bola Chwil from Anik Chiefdom, one of the 18 chiefdoms of Ruwing administrative area. In memory and celebration of the life of a young man who had such positive impact beyond his immediate family, community, and even his country, the following only seeks to outline his early life, education, achievements, hobbies, as well as his dreams and vision for a better community in South Sudan. The family. Late Engineer Paul Adong was a devoted family man. He deeply cared about his family and the larger society. He was married to Sarah Alang Pualtong from Abia, Pakir clan of Anyil Chiefdom, and with whom he had two sons, Atie and Deng. Atie is 6 years old, Deng is 2 years old. As one of the 7 children between his parents, Engineer Paul Adong was the 3rd child to Bith Deng from Panakoj clan of Anik Chiefdom, and Nyibol Minyil Bola Chwil from Padway clan, also from Anik Chiefdom. Beside his wife and 2 children, Engineer Adong is survived by his mother, Nyibol Minyila Bola Chwil, his elder brother, Bith Deng, the first son, and is married to Nyandong Cholagak from Nger Chiefdom with 7 children. He is also survived by his elder sister, Nyantao Bith Deng, the second born, and is married to Dao Majung Dao from Anik Chiefdom with 2 children, and survived by his younger sister, Apayual Bith Deng, the firstborn, and is married to Mading Yik Deng from Agan Chiefdom with 5 children, and is also survived by his younger brother, Deng Bith Deng, 5th born, and is married to Achol Lang Anyak from Anik Chiefdom with 1 daughter, and finally is survived by his sister, Nyantem Bith Deng, the last born, who is married to Nuoi Dal Dal from Awil with 5 children. Early life. Late Engineer Adong was born in Panyang Township of Ruwing administrative area on May 17, 1975. He briefly looked after his family cattle at around Lake Jiao County in the northern part of Ruweng administrative area. In the face of interminable raids and destruction of his village and the surrounding villages in the early 1980s by Arab militia then known as Muralin, comprising of Misiria and Bagara Arab tribes, there was an enormous migration of Ruweng community to northern Sudan, especially Khartoum. It is against this backdrop that engineer Adong and his family left for northern Sudan in 1984. The family first settled in El Kenana in today's White Nile state in the Sudan, where young Adong started his elementary education in 1986. The family would later move to Khartoum, where he continues education at Kamboni College, Khartoum, Bari. His primary school teacher describes him as a gifted student who always led his class with more than 100 points separating him and the second student, and that engineer Adong was the best in his batch when they sat for primary examinations. The teacher also notes that when young Adong was a student at Kamboni College, he operated a tuck shop for various items like sweets, cigarettes, etc. to raise money for personal upkeep and purchase of basic school supplies. Late engineer Adong sat and excelled in his Sudan primary education certificate at Kamboni College, Khartoum. He subsequently got a scholarship to Kamboni Secondary School, although he later joined the prestigious St. Augustine Secondary School, Khartoum. He sat for his Sudan Secondary School Secondary Education Certificate in 1997 and emerged as one of the top performers in the country. He briefly joined engineering school of the University of Juba in Khartoum, where he was top of his class in the first 2 years that he spent at the University of Juba. While he was still an engineering student at the University of Juba, he received a generous scholarship to the University of Technology, Petronas in Malaysia to study Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and graduated in 2002. After working for 6 years in Malaysia and Oman until 2009, engineer Adong got another scholarship to study his Master of Science in Oil and Gas Management at the University of Aberdeen in the United Kingdom, where he graduated in 2010. During his graduate studies in the UK, engineer Adong yearned to return home to serve his country. He was well known for being ambitious, patriotic, and obsessed with all things about oil and gas. He dreamt of transforming oil and gas industry and seeing all South Sudanese in the top rank at different levels in the industry. This ambition saw him return home immediately. Career. Engineer Adong was a leader of his peers, being an expert in oil and gas enterprise and management. He was a professional engineer in the letter and spirit of the profession. He was fluent and eloquent in his spoken and written Dinka, Arabic, and English. Until his untimely demise on June 18, 2002, Engineer Adong was in active practice of his engineering profession. He was registered with South Sudan Engineering Council and was one of the founders of South Sudan Engineering Society in Khartoum in 2004. Following South Sudan's independence, led engineer Adong led the efforts to convene a meeting of South Sudanese engineers and architects at New Sudan Palace Hotel, being then the managing director of Nilebed. The President of the Republic, Salva Kiir Mayardit, was the patron of the day. The meeting eventuated in the formation of South Sudanese Engineering and Architect Society. Late engineer Adong became a household name in South Sudan following his appointment as the managing director of South Sudan's National Oil and Gas Corporation, the Nilebed. In this position, Engineer Adong sought to materialize his ambition of using his engineering skills to produce commodities and ensure that South Sudanese engineers were employed and running the oil and gas industry. To translate this idea into practical programs, Engineer Adong worked in close coordination with the Ministry of Petroleum, relevant institutions of government, and foreign partners. This could come to pass if he embarked on capacity development of South Sudanese nationals in all segments of oil and gas industry. For instance, while serving as Vice President of Dar Petroleum Operating Company in 2006, he facilitated the contracting of one of the leading international oil and gas companies, Schellenberger, to train and develop capacities of local oil and gas experts, as well as to identify training needs and gaps of the South Sudanese and gas professionals. The chronological achievement, you can read it at your later time. Let's look at the key achievement page 9. The key and transformative achievements of Engineer Paul Adong. As an engineer, the third managing director of NALPET, senior advisor in the Ministry of Petroleum, and an entrepreneur running his own company, Adong Petroleum Company Limited, Engineer Paul Adong translated his ambition to produce things into a practical reality. Apart from the routine administrative and management activities that comes with most jobs, some of his oil and gas management career and public service are summarized as follows. As a third managing director of NALPET and the first after South Sudan's independence in 2011, Paul Adong restructured and transformed NALPET from a company with less than 220 employees into a vibrant oil and gas player in the region, employing hundreds of South Sudanese nationals in oil sectors of oil and gas industry. Second, in close coordination with the Ministry of Petroleum, other relevant institutions and partners, Engineer Paul Adong skillfully managed the transition of oil and gas sector from the Sudan to South Sudan immediately after independence. This resulted in a smooth and timely formation of the three joint operating companies, namely GPOG, DPOG, and SPOG, and establishment of offices in Juba. 3. During post-independence political tensions between the government of the Republic of South Sudan and government of the Sudan that resulted in the shutdown of South Sudan oil fields in 2012, Engineer Paul Adong candidly advised the government to work closely with the Ministry of Petroleum and all stakeholders to facilitate the implementation of the cabinet decision to shut down oil operations. His leadership, professionalism, and coordination with all sector professionals ensured that the decision was implemented without any major operational and environmental disaster. Following the above, Engineer Paul Adong became one of the key technical advisors and resource persons to the government of the Republic of South Sudan during the later negotiations between South Sudan and the Sudan on how to restore oil operations under a new operational framework, resulting in the signing of the 2011 cooperation agreement and swift reopening of South Sudan oil operations. Fifth, immediately after signing of the cooperation agreement between the two governments, Engineer Adong further coordinated successful and timely reopening of oil operations alongside other stakeholders. 6. Engineer Adong was one of the main pioneers of the South Sudanization of the oil sector, an idea that birthed the local content policy. Under Engineer Adong facilitated massive employment of thousands of South Sudanese in oil and gas industry and ensured that numerous local companies benefited from service contracts offered by oil operators. As a result, a number of South Sudanese oil sector professionals eulogized him as being responsible for the employment of over 95% of South Sudanese in the oil sector. What is currently becoming a vibrant local contractor and service sector of South Sudan oil and gas is by and large a credit and a brainchild of engineer Paul Adong. Seventh, during his tenure as NILPAT MD, he intellectually and practically contributed to discourses that led to the drafting and enactment of oil sector legal frameworks by the national legislature. As a result, most of oil sector laws and policies such as the Petroleum Act, the NILPAT Act, the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, the Petroleum Regulations, the Local Content Policy, the Unified Human Resource Policy Manual have Engineer Paul Adong's fingerprints on them. Eighth, as a believer in capacity building and enhancement, Engineer Adong provided technical training opportunities to numerous oil gas professionals. This enabled numerous people to transition from different careers into oil and gas sector, and many more taking further studies in the same field. Ninth, in close coordination with the Ministry of Petroleum and relevant government institutions, Engineer Adong contracted a reputable international legal firm, assembled a number of local, regional, and international professionals to pursue the legal tussle between the government of the Republic of South Sudan's NILPAT versus government of the Sudan Sudapat at an international court of arbitration in London, UK. NILPAT, under Engineer Adong's meticulous and watchful guidance, won the legal battle and saved the government over $1.2 billion US. 10th, Engineer Adong's MBA in oil and gas shaped his business and entrepreneurial skill, an entrepreneurial line of thinking. Thus, NILPAT boosted huge profit turnover during his tenure. 11, to develop competent government-affiliated oil sector service contractors that are strong enough to wrestle partners own contractors in the oil sector, and in order to further boost NILPAT revenues, Engineer Adong engineered the establishment and operationalization of the NILPAT subsidiaries. Hence, the emergency of SIPAD, NILPAT, Nile Delta, Dietman, Nile Drilling, NIPGAS, ISPAD, Nile Logistics LLC, the NILPAT Training Institute, among others. 12, Engineer Adong was always open and looking for potential local, regional, and international investors to partner with NILPAT and the government of the Republic of South Sudan. This led to the partnership between NILPAT and a Russian company, Safinat, and subsequently the construction of the Unity Manga oil refinery that was completed in 2015 before being further damaged during the ensuing civil strife in South Sudan. 13, in the same context and with the view to ensuring sustainable government contribution and involvement in the supply of refined fuel products alongside other private companies, NILPAT under Engineer Adong invested heavily in the downstream division. This led to NILPAT's involvement in direct import and marketing of refined fuel products and subsequent establishment of numerous NILPAT retail fuel stations and depots across the country, and further employment of hundreds of people. 14th, always mindful about NILPAT's corporate social responsibility, Engineer Adong innovatively allocated a few resources to contribute to social well-being of South Sudanese, mainly in education and health sector. For instance, in 2014, NILPAT under his leadership partially renovated Gieda Hospital, a move that improved the hospital's capacity to respond to health needs of organized forces and the public. For 15, during Engineer Adong's tenure, NALPED was constantly represented in local, regional, and international oil and gas-related meetings and conferences where the company's potential was professionally showcased. This enabled NALPED to build a brand reputation currently regarded as key oil and gas players in the region. 16, during his tenure, Engineer Adong was very mindful of the importance of intergovernmental linkages and the need for synergy and cooperation, partnership and coordination between oil and gas stakeholders, government institutions, as well as private entities. This made it easy for various government institutions to support NALPED when required and for private entities to forge partnership and cooperation with the company. Finally, overall, Engineer Adong was visionary, patriotic, who paid no attention to what tribe, color, or creed everyone he worked with or served with him came from. This enabled him to assemble the most balanced and talented workforce, mirroring all South Sudanese in the oil sector. You can read his membership on your free time. Engineer Paul Adong's dream and vision. Let's strive to achieve a lasting transformation of Ruweng and South Sudan. The above were Engineer Paul Adong's last written words to the Right Honorable Mary Honorable Yan Majuk, the first Deputy Speaker of the Council of State on June 4th, 2022. From this mouthful line, one can see that Engineer Adong was clearly a young man who not only left us at his prime, but also one whose ambition for success, as well as tenacious and invincible spirit, were as animated by his insatiable desire to change his community and country for the better, as it was informed by a fundamental grasp of where he hailed from. Engineer Adong understood that the enduring plights of his community, which plights are in part attributed to the fortune or misfortune of their geographical location, and are in part attributed to the distance from the corridors of power, could considerably be mitigated by means of economic and cultural transformation. This transformation would be predicated on achieving physical and food security, relentless pursuit of an entrepreneurial drive, and mass agricultural production and social engineering. To Engineer Adong, these objectives would eventuate in ameliorating the adverse material conditions that currently permeate many parts of South Sudan. To Engineer Adong, the ultimate goal was and would always be the promotion of self-reliance. Engineer Paul was thus a transformative thinker who believed in human ingenuity and capacity to produce and make things. Adong believed in transforming Ruweng administrative area into a model of perfection of governance in South Sudan and using natural and human resources to make South Sudan the envy of the world, of the region and the world. In pursuit of these dreams and ambition, Engineer Adong was ever ready, willing and able to do anything in his power to transform the community and therefore human conditions. It is in this vein that Engineer Adong had provided sponsorship to countless students ranging from primary school to university education. Engineer Adong was a force for good. His multivariate talents, brilliance, professionalism, and love for his country made him one in millions. One of his classmates describes him as extremely bright, ambitious, persistent, humble, loving, and touching in a very personal way, a strong believer in people and their ability to create meaning. In his tribute to late Engineer Adong, Honorable Stephen View, who served in various positions as the National Minister of Petroleum and Mining, Minister of Finance, and Minister of Trade, and who worked closely with Engineer Adong when he was a Minister of Petroleum and Mining, remarked that Engineer Adong often dreamt of how South Sudan should be a better place for diverse one people living in peace and harmony with one another. And that is truly what defines Engineer Adong's legacy. In the grand scheme of things, thus, Engineer Adong was a man who lived for and believed in others, and that together all can work for common good. While Ruweng and South Sudan will not be the same with Engineer Paul Adong Bith, the family, friends, co-workers, and colleagues will ensure that his towering legacy is not diminished. It will live on. In conclusion, the family, friends, colleagues, and co-workers and the community of Engineer Adong are deeply indebted to and eternally grateful for the outpour of moral and material support from individuals, government institutions, and business organizations to ensure that Engineer Adong is given a dignified valediction or sent off from the world he toiled so hard with a view to making it a better place for all and sundry in South Sudan. The family, friends, colleagues, and co-workers of Engineer Adong are particularly grateful to His Excellency the President, President Kir Mayadit, for the special honor bestowed upon Adong Deng, Paul Adong Bith Deng, even in his sleep. Engineer Adong Bith Deng is certainly smiling down on us all for this befitting honor. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Santino Yelongan, fondly known by his peers as Dr. Sal, for summarizing up the bio. I think it took a lot of time than expected because of the richness and the bulkiness of it, but you have done well. Your Excellency Hossein Abdelbagi Akol, the Vice President in charge of the Service Cluster, and the representative of His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan in today's occasion. Right Honorable Mayor Yanmi Jog, the Acting Speaker for the Council of States from the revitalized Transitional Legislative Assembly. Comrade Peter Lambot, the Secretary General for the SPLM. Honorable James Odmai, the Minister of Public Service, and your colleagues from the Cabinet. The leadership of the Ministry of Petroleum, represented by Honorable Port Kang Chol, is definitely still on his way. And under it is the entire leadership. I've seen Dr. William Deng, Dr. William Anyag Deng, and I've also seen Uncle Mechara Chep. All honorable MPs from the two houses of the Council of States and the National Assembly who are here in your various capacities and portfolios. Dr. Chodeng Tonabel, the Managing Director of NILPED, the entire JOC representatives represented by the Vice Presidents. I've seen Mr. Mayol of GPOC, William Deng Deng of DPOC, and Engineer Leo Charo of SPOC. All close friends and colleagues of Paul Adong. Who do I really mention? You all here. The entire family, from the immediate family and the in-laws, everyone here, the church leadership and the public. Good afternoon once again. Before I call the next speaker, you will have to appreciate and recognize that the program will be a little bit long, but we'll do everything we can to make sure we finish on time. So we ask the rest of the speakers to be precise and keep time. We were a little bit soft with the guy reading the eulogy, but the rest of you coming to pay their respect, we hope you will be as precise as possible. But before I go calling the next speaker, I would want to scan through the dignitaries whose names were read earlier. I appreciate and understand there could have been mispronouncement of titles. We have to get that right. I know I wouldn't be able to follow the protocol as swift as possible. I know we have our Excellency Vice President here representing the President. I mentioned earlier we have Honorable Right Honorable Mary Ayan Mijok, the acting speaker. In the kind of list which will not be based on the protocol, we do know and recognize the presence of Honorable Stephen Dio, the former Minister of Finance and Planning. We mentioned earlier we have Dr. Cholton Abel, who is the current MD of NILPAD amidst us. We also do know there are several ministers from Ruwing administrative area, Abia administrative area, whose name we could not all mention. We mentioned earlier Honorable Malone Chong, who is the Minister of Finance for Abia administrative area. We have Honorable Joshua Daudu, an MP. We have Honorable Chakbor Adong, who is also an MP. We mentioned earlier the VPs of the JOCs. We do know that we have Honorable Dear Tong, who is representing the family here, the former governor of the Central Bank. We also do know we have Lieutenant General Cholton Balog, the Deputy Minister of Defense amidst us. We have Malwal Tab and Lam Tungwar from Unity State Cabinet. We mentioned earlier we have Honorable James Othmai, our Minister of Public Service. We have Molana Atiop Mulwag Dira among us. We have Ambassador Mayande Dut and the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. With them is sitting Honorable Langwinding. We do know we also have amidst us Honorable Atenjuweg Ateng, the Press Secretary in the Office of the President. In NIPED leadership, former and current, we do have Engineer Bolring Morwell. I guess we also do have Joseph Keleto Kwel, who has been all through with us. We have seen earlier coming in Dr. Majanga Goda Tim, the former Deputy Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs. We mentioned earlier we have our able interim Secretary General for the SPLM, Comrade Peter Lambert, among us. We have also seen Honorable Dr. Lawrence Mbog, the former Governor of Ruwing Administrative Area. We saw General Madwot Parek also amidst us. I've seen Honorable Mechong Mejong also coming. We've seen Dr. William Anyang Deng earlier. Like I mentioned, we could not be able to maybe mention each one of you by name. In any case, if we have not mentioned or recognized you protocol-wise or mispronounce your title, please excuse us for that. And now to the program. I would like to take this chance to call our able chair of the high-level committee that organized this fantastic occasion. Fantastic in the beauty of it, but devastating in the context of it. So Dr. Jag, you are highly welcome. So from Dr. Jag, the rest of the people who follow must keep the time. Meanwhile, I do recognize Your Excellency that you are not doing one thing. There are a lot of other things you would also be planning to attend to. So should you, Your Excellency, want to speak before everybody else to also attend to other issues, we will also be flexible and listen to that. And that also would apply to the rest of the honorable ministers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Gil Abraham Dawson. But I need to notice that the media are taking more time than the speakers. So even next time I'm going to follow you, the media people, and I'll be every time coming to you. Having said that, let me go straight away into my short remarks. Your Excellency Hussein Abdelbagi Akol, Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan for Service Cluster, again the representative of His Excellency the President for this occasion. Your Excellency, Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker of the Council of State, Honorable Mary Ayan Mijok, Your Excellency, the Interim Secretary General of the governing party, the SPLM, Honorable Dr. Peter Lambert, Your Excellencies, National Ministers, Your Excellencies, Governors, Your Excellency, Honorable Stefano Wio de Malek, the Chief Chief Administrator of Ruang Administrative Area. I stand here to greet you all in the name of our brother, our comrade, our friend, late Engineer Adong Bith. As many people may think that we are still mourning, I want to assure you that actually we are celebrating the life of the late Paul Adong. That's why you see everything very colorful. Because if Paul was here, he would want us to be celebrating his life. Because in real sense, life is not measured on how many years you spend on this life, but how much things you have achieved. And Paul, like any achiever, like any great man, when we remember Dr. Martin Luther King, who lived for 37 years, Bob Marley 37 years, and there is great people, they don't live long. So Paul has lived for the last 47 years, and he has done and has achieved things that many of us have, or may live longer than that, but fall short of achieving it. So let us stop mourning his life, and let's come together today and celebrate his life. I'm standing here on behalf of the high-level organizing committee, of people that have produced this wonderful work that you are seeing, and I'm standing here to thank them individually because most of them are working behind the scene and they are not seen. Thank you, comrades, for celebrating the life of our brother. Thank you, comrades, for honoring the life of Paul. Paul belonged to a generation of survivors. Those who were born in the 1970s and who were displaced to Northern Sudan and specifically Khartoum. For us, I belong to that generation of Pauls. We were not supported by any. We depended on our nails and our teeth to survive. And we had to compete with a very strong and well-established and privileged environment in Khartoum. But we emerged survivors. Our motto, our theme was to succeed in life or to excel in success. Failure was not part of our option. We opted to succeed in our life. So you have heard from Dr. Sal when he was reading the eulogy of late Paul, which is full of achievement. Paul, for me, I've known him for the last 25 years. I met him first in 1998. And straight from his secondary school, Paul came to our university as a leader. I was ahead of him by 2 years. Yet, Paul became our leader and he was the speaker of JUSA, of which I was the sports secretary. You know, preliminaries do not lead associations. But Paul came to our university with his team. He worked with us for 2 years and a lot of achievements were done with Paul there. Paul was a frank man. When you entered for his office, it is either you come out, celebrate, you are happy with him, or annoyed. That's why Paul may have many people who loved him, but as well many people who have grudges against him. I'm here today, I'm concluding those in the media. I'm here today to call for the generation of Paul, our generation. Some people call us Khartoumers. We accept that with no pride, but with no shame either, because displacement was not an informed choice for us. We were forced to be displaced, yet we saw first succeeding and achieving. I'm calling for you that please be focused like Paul. Paul was a man of oil and gas. Whenever I met Paul, the last time I was in a company of Honorable Dr. Diomoto, he quarreled with me, not because of something wrong, but because he wanted to advise me. He told me, what are you doing? I asked him back, what are you doing too? He said, I'm earning money for the Republic of South Sudan. I told him, I'm fixing health. He told me, no, you have a lot of politics. And I admit. So let us get focused. Let us start working. Let us do one thing. Let us tell everyone that yes, we are Khartoumers, but we are achievers. I love you, Paul. I know you're seeing me. I know you're happy that we've come from far. I know you angry at me, but I'm very happy that we've come here today and celebrate your life. May you live long. I know if you were with us, you would have said هاتوا السلام هاتوا من دونه لا غايات لا عيش ولا شباب. Paul was not an easy man. Thank you, Paul. I love you, Paul.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور جاك ماكور ورئيس اللجنة المنظمة، وهو قبل شوية قد عاتب لجنة الإعلام بإطالة الزمن، وهو كذلك سار على نفس الدرب. نرحب بالسيد مايكل شنجيك وزير الإسكان الاتحادي، والسيد سايمون ميجوك دميجع وزير الطرق والكباري الاتحادي، وبمولانا مين وولجون الوكيل الأسبق لوزارة البترول. هنستمر في الفقرات بتاعنا وهنخش سؤال مباشرة، ونذكر 3 دقائق هي الفرصة الممنوحة للمتحدث. Only 3 minutes for each speaker. We call upon Uncle, the representative of the family of the late engineer Paul Adong Bith. We call Honorable Uncle Benjamin Mijak Dudao to give his speech in 3 minutes to console the public and the family, the friends, the ministry, the entire Republic of South Sudan people whom are gathering today to memorize the late engineer Paul Adong Bith Deng.
Bungo ko pelaro pinote ko banji de bay ko rana ben jama je de koy ko bay wada Honorable Benjamin Mijak Daw kunju ya yur ka jam ne ki ta ko la chon.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. الأخ حسين عبد الباقي يقول نائب رئيس الجمهورية والمكلف من السيد رئيس الجمهورية لمواسانا في هذا الفصل، ضيوفنا الكرام الوزراء في الحكومة الاتحادية والولايات وحكام الولايات، أعضاء البرلمان القومي، كل ضيوف الحضروا لتعزيتنا، نحن بنشكركم أجزل الشكر. ما في شيء بنقدر نقوله. الحضور الحصل لنا في تعازي بوفاة ابننا بول أدونغ شجعنا إنه بول كان ابن الجنوب وأخو أخوان وصديق لجمهور ما له حدود. ده شجعنا في إنه نلزم الصبر. السيرة الذاتية الغرو بيكفي لأي زول إنه فول باقي ولو لغسي ما حينسو في مسار حياته القصير. بشجعني أيضا إنه المسؤولية كان بول مسؤول عنه في أسرتنا ككل، نحن عارفين إنه في ناس هيقفوا معنا بالحضور بتاعكم الكثيف ده. ده شجعنا في إنه نمسح دموعنا. نحن الفقد وعقة تقيل على أسرتنا زي ما سميته في سيرة ذاتية. حجم الأسرة اللي هو كان مسؤول عنه. لكن بالحضور الكثيف من جمهور في كل بقاع جنوب السودان بوري إنه الجنوب خسر أيقون في وسطهم. الأخ حسين أرفع تهانينا وشكرنا لسيد رئيس الجمهورية الوقف معنا لهذه آخر اللحظات في رؤيته الأخير لجزمان راحل. نحن على ثقة إنه الأخوان الأصدقاء زملاء الدراسة والعمل يقفوا معنا في مسك لغسي بتاعته ورعاية بتاع أسرته الصغير، ونحن كأسرة الكبير نعيدكم إنه شغلة بول هيكون في محله. شكرا جزيلا.
إن شغلة جرينا وفي أتكلم لكل رانا بين أجامع بوجا يقول كاديا كنا شو ما يوم نام عن الزمان وكجتو.
شكرا أنكل بنجامين مجاك داو ممثل الأسرة. نرحب بالسيد داغ بيشوب حاكم الأسبق لولاية علي النيل، وبسيدين بانغود أموم وسيد شبور جوج أعضاء المجلس الوطني الانتقالي المنشط. الآن نتواصل بفقراتنا لأن الزمن ليس في صالحنا. ندعو أرملة الراحل السيدة Sarah Mario Kwaltong, the wife of the late engineer Paul Adong, to give us encouraged word on this gathering, on this memorial. So, Manatier, it is your floor.
Amen. Umur ko pela road penyade, kuting the one man manantito ni akole, Manatier Sarah Mario Kwaltong, in Chiba Chilor Kubai Chindudi, Ayin in Chiba Yul Kareo, Kubuka Van Dud Piawayadam. Angiku pana Sudan atau pana Junub Sudan dia kita juga baru kena cigal, lakin keket dia harga cimit ke long mu, ayah Junub Sudan dia di riada piawing, kumuka tiai keket dia ngagua bah gua cuan namin cuglei.
Your Excellency, Vice President and advisors, honorable ministers and members of Parliament present, all protocol present, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome. As you can all see, I am still in shock and total disbelief that Engineer Paul Adong Bith, my amazing husband, and a loving father of my children is truly no more. It never crossed my mind that I would be losing him this soon. But here I am, utilizing him. Death can be really cruel, really cruel. When he died, I lost the most valuable piece of me. Before Paul passed on, he had plans to move to the US to be able to spend valuable times with me and the kids. For that, he planned everything so well that he even sent his car ahead to stay with us there. As we happily waited for him to come to the USA, my love sadly left us with just a blink of an eye that still feels like a dream. But here I am, eulogizing him. Paul Adong was my sweetheart, my husband, and my best friend. He was an adoring father of our children. He was my world, my everything. Paul Adong was the most amazing husband you can ever imagine. He would do everything for me and our 2 little kids. Throughout the years of knowing him and our marriage, I had always been thankful to God for letting me discover my true love. He was the kindest man and the greatest father that every child on the planet Earth would dream of. Paul was very caring and organized. He always planned special anniversaries, trips, holidays, birthdays, etc. He always liked working and doing more to improve the lives and future of our children. I am very proud of his achievements. Paul very much loved his family. He loved his work, all people and the country he served. Paul was a visionary. He planned and achieved a lot in what became a very short career in his area of expertise and general public service. Paul was friendly. He had a lot of friends from every corner of South Sudan, regardless of tribes, in the Eastern African region, in the African continent, and globally. Paul Adong was my husband. He was a transformative leader and people's builder. During his very short career, he developed many leaders and giving the opportunities, capacity building and upgrading their professional skills. He equally helped and facilitated the dreams of countless people who needed a help hand and labored to pursue their dreams. My husband was always there to give them the ladder to climb and chase their dreams. My husband was thankful to whoever helped him along the way. He knew that he could be somebody to through others. In fact, if he was here with us today, he would have certainly thanked each and every one of those who helped him through his career and the leaderships that accorded him an opportunity to serve his beloved people of South Sudan. Amazingly, my husband would also thank those who were against him, for those motivated him to do more and more. Therefore, on his and my own behalf, I want to sincerely thank each everyone who stood with us from day one. We shall always be grateful for the phone calls, physical visits and verbal consolations, material supports, and personal contributions made through resources, time, and energy. And above all, we thank you for turning up in these very large numbers to mourn with us. The children are not in the known as what just happened, but over the course of time, they will know that, and thank you for your support. You haven't just given us strength and hope. You have shown the other part of my beloved husband that we as a family didn't know that much at that is. He had touched many people. Thank you very much for also making him proudly smile in heaven. My dear Paul Adong, you left us so soon, but I'm very proud of you, and I promise to take care of our lovely kids. Babe, you may rest in peace, have fun in heaven until we meet it someday. We love you and we will always miss you, ever and ever. And we will thank everyone on your behalf. Kuit ba Martin na wit ba mama, nyibol minyel wit ba lej, wit ba taga jorat kubikot South Sudan victim. Rancho giek Paul Adong ayemen South Sudan akol. Yin biya rienda ko yin biya iran bugating kubik mit kwa buka mo kubika gat big chit Paul Adong. Kuj Balag community dan ruin also. Kedik wan bane polo kachiblo ko jeten. Wanin ko manimbai every weekend. Ko yikiben bay. Achiblo coach. You guys are always welcome. Wek chakale.
In chugle jaret no welfare kachilwel. Kuruenda kuya bay bana boko kayin. Kuriya dorot fin kumumit ko. In chugle jaret.
شكرا للسيدة القوية المناضلة سارة ماريو كوال ومولاي المرحوم بول أدونغ بيث لكلماتها القوية المشجعة، والبيت سيظل مفتوحا كما كان بول حيا. بيت بول هيكون مفتوح لكل زول. The house will remain open to every visit, to every friend, to every colleague. هنواصل لقدام، وقبل ما نواصل هنشوف في إعلان بسيط. العربة 875 875 BY SSD. Kindly remove your car wherever it is. And also the car number 803 CC SSD. Please, the alarm is on. You go and fix it. نرحب بالسيد مستشار الرئيس للشؤون الأمنية السيد توت جلواك، هو في الوسط. نرحب به في هذه الصلاة. نستمر في برنامجنا وهنقدم ممثل النسبان in-laws, our in-laws representative, Honorable Dear Tong Ngor, former governor of Central Bank of South Sudan, هو ممثل النسبان. يشجعنا ويشجع كل الحضور.
Thank you, MC. طبعا مع زمن I think أنا بختصر الترحيب. Your Excellency, the Vice President, all protocol observed, the Church, my greetings to you all. I feel really humble and honored to have been given this chance to represent the family of Sarah and indeed the Ngok of Abe community to say something and to eulogize my beloved son-in-law, late engineer Paul Adong Bith Deng. Indeed, the passing on of Paul is tragic. It has indeed robbed us all, our immediate family, my daughter Sarah, and those small kids you had. Their ages are 6 and 2. Atia and Deng. And the mother of late Paul Adong, Mama Christine also, the mother of Sarah, all the family members and the ruling community and the entire nation. Engineer Paul was a great man, a family man, a man who loved his community and his country, a professional man who did a lot during his short life. I knew the late Paul in two capacities. First, I met him at work. As a young and highly qualified professional in his field in 2013, when he was the managing director of NIPED. At that time, I was the Director General for Banking Operation at the Bank of South Sudan. I remember that Nilpet at the time wanted to enter the business of refined fuel importation. I was asked by the former governor of the Bank of South Sudan, Honorable Cornelio Corium, at that time to support Nilpet to secure a financing arrangement for their new business, for their new business line with one of the commercial banks in the country. During this time, I came to know Paul's capabilities and commitment to get things done, and at the highest level of professionalism. I worked very closely with him, and we managed to secure a $2 million loan financing from Stanbic Bank for the business. The vision that Paul shared with me at the time was to make Nilpet a leader in the country's wholesale business of the refined product. The second capacity where I came to know Paul more closely was when he came to ask for the hand of our daughter, Sarah Qualtong, for marriage. From the moment he approached us, Paul made it a point to get to know our family. Ultimately, his union with Sarah united our two families, and indeed our two communities of Ngok and Rueng. And for me personally, Paul became like my younger brother and a friend. We usually discuss many issues in our field of specialization and matters relating to family and our country. His respect to his in-laws was for us unmatched. He did not limit this respect to my immediate family as such, but to the entire Ngok of a gay community in general. With his passing and with his professionalism and capabilities, Paul is no more. God has taken him and we cannot bring him back. We have to accept that he is gone forever. The challenge is now upon us to emulate him and to follow his footsteps, and forever remember his accomplishment and memorable stories we have known Paul for. To keep the memory of Paul alive, we need to work hard, as Paul did, to make South Sudan a better place for our people to live in. As a family and friend of Paul, we must continue the close relationship that Paul and Sarah have established, and to support his young family, his small children, Adong and Deng, his wife Sarah, the mother-in-law, and the whole family. Once again, my deepest condolences to all of us. Let's always pray to remember Paul and ask God Almighty to rest his precious soul in eternal peace. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tong. Your Excellency, before I call the next speaker, allow me to recognize the presence of a few dignitaries. We have amidst us General Jal Thomas. We had recognized earlier the presence of Honorable Tut Galwag Manime, the Presidential Advisor for Security, who is a very close friend of the family. We would also want to recognize the presence of Lieutenant General Wiyu Alkor and the presence of Honorable Denga Kwe Kag, the former Governor for Northern Upper Nile State. So our next speaker is Paul's maternal uncle. So I call upon Honorable Engineer Mijong Dan Cholek. Honorable Engineer Mijong Dan Cholek, you're highly welcome, uncle.
Ogbungor ko pela road penyodia kurana ben jam niabaten anarken kupor rana ben jam ke Honorable Vice Mahandis Mijong Dan Cholek manenere Adong ku ke bandi de fana longo University Sudan in chuk lor ayadang ku chuk ye yul kare yo lana de ngala ka ba ayadang ngor ko lor ko di chiven kate general luga fa tor de in chuk lor bandi de bai manera di de veterans.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Vice President Hussein Abdul Wagi, Honorable Tut Galwak, Advisor of Security, Honorable Mary Ayan Majok, Deputy Speaker of the Council of the State, الإخوة الوزراء في الحكومة المركزية، الإخوة الوزراء في حكومات الولايات، الجمع الكريم، الحكام السابقين، ابني Chief Administrator of Ruwing ويا ملك، أنا بسلم عليكم باسم رب. نحن اليوم واقفين قدامكم وكنا بنبكي أيام الماضي حتى وصلنا فنيان، وكان في ديليجيت من جنوب السودان وصل معنا لهذه فنيان، فأنا بشكركم كثير الشكر. نحن خوال بتاع بول انجينير بول أدون، عرفنا اليوم ومنذ إن جاء خبر بتاع وفاته في دبي إنه فول ما ابن الخوال ولا ابن الأسر بتاع فان دين داروب، إنما هو ابن لدولة وأبناء جنوب السودان ب64 قبيلة بتاعه. وأنا متأكد اليوم ونحن في صلاة المرحوم باي مهندس، انتم مساحة دموع الكنا بنبكي في عيوننا، فنحن بنشكر الزملاء بتاع فول وبنشكر الجمع الكريم الوصلوا لهذا المكان اللي عملتوه علينا. ده حصل انه مساحة دموع من عيوننا، وبنتي سارة مانتياي إن شلي جام شين جام وين، ونسبنا ديارتهم وأهلنا في أبياي. أنتم كنتم معنا فترة الفات كله. ما عندي حاجة دير أقول لكم إلا أقول لكم شكرا جزيلا. زي ما داود وقت ابنه كان يان كان ما بياكل وما بيشرب، ولكن عندما مات الولد قال دين مويا وديني أكل عشان ناكل. فها ما حدث اليوم، انتم مسحتوا عيوننا ونحن نشكركم جميعا بمقاماتكم المختلفة. ونحن بنقول الرب هو الخالق، وبما انه هو الخالق نحن لن نتذمر ابدا حينما ياتي ذلك اليوم وتلك الساعه. ربنا بيهتم بالارامل، وربنا بيهتم بالاتامى، والاتامى هم بينجح في حياه بتاعه. داير اقول لبنتي ساره انا واقف قدامك ده، امي مات واتياي اكبر مني، وانا يا هو واقف قدامك اليوم. امي مات وانا برضه، وابوي مات وعمري 6 سنة، لكن ربنا زي ما قال انه هو بيهتم بالاتامى. انت اخذ الآية ده، ربنا هيكون معك. والكلام اللي قلت قبل انه بيت فول نحن ما هنجيب منه كزملاء بتاع فول وكخوال بتاع فول، نيابة عن أسرة بتاع خوال فدوي. نحن بنشكر الجمع الكريم ونقول لكم شكرا جزيلا. من يبيك فول كيبا منذ ينتو من جانبن فكيتين أشين بابا تدين من كاي، فليكن إيمان قوية هو كاجين، وربنا يكون معنا جميعا. وشكرا.
Thank you very much, Uncle Honorable Engineer Mijong Dao, for the remarks. Your Excellency, because of the changing weather condition, I would want to request the coming speakers to reduce their timeline from 3 to 2, if that is possible. That's one. Two, we also do recognize that because of the changing weather condition and other circumstances surrounding your schedules, we are sending our colleague Engineer Temtul to go around your side to consult with Your Excellency and the rest of the senior people in the protocol, so that we can understand if there would be need to readjust. We will be happy to slot in, and one of you would want to leave, and then the rest of the protocol can flow. I would like to call upon Professor Michael David, who is the Vice President for Adong Petroleum. Adong Petroleum, written in short form as APL. Please, you have 2 minutes to give your remarks. Welcome.
Uncle Mike Benjam ni avene na cerca di chola Adong Petroleum chugle kunjagi yul kareo.
Good afternoon, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I would like to thank you all for attending the last funeral prayers for our late engineer, Paul Adong. Thank you very much. For those present who do not know me personally, my name is Professor Michael David Niven. I worked closely with Paul on production of the historical environmental audit scope of work from 2019 until completion, and later as his VP for Business Development. Engineer Paul was a born leader, and his company, Adong Petroleum Limited, has grown from a mediocre, or not mediocre, but more a smallish beginning in 2017 to a business successful and with over 100 employees in 2022. This has undoubtedly helped to strengthen the economy of South Sudan, as well as provide employment for a considerable amount of its citizens. Today, we mourn the passing of a good friend and a great man, but as many people have said, we must not forget to celebrate his extraordinary achievements during his relatively short time on earth, because they were far beyond what most people will achieve, irrespective of the time they remain on this earth. The late engineer Paul Adong has left behind a legacy, something else we must not forget, which we must respect. And we, the management of Adong Petroleum, promise to the family to work hand in hand to carry forward the good work he left behind in his honor. May God bless Sarah, the late engineer Paul's family, and allow engineer Paul to rest in peace for eternity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. Our next speaker is a representative of Ruwen community, and that is none other than Honorable Anthony Galdeng. Honorable Anthony Galdeng, welcome.
Jambiak the Ruwen community.
Honorable Anthony Gal wada chuglor kuchuya yultok nagachideng vanyal. Ene pirok ekere bandiden pirok kutontok ekere bandiden tok in chuglo kuchuglej.
سيد نائب رئيس الجمهورية سيد عبد الباقي أيي وسيد مستشار رئيس الجمهورية للشؤون الأمنية وكل وزراء الاتحادين. البروتوكول محفوظ طبعا ده لي دقيقتين ودقيقة واحد ما أعرف. أيضا حتى كده كلام بيكون قصير بسبب انه يعني الجمهور ده بدي فرح، وهاي لما يشوف نفسه وسط الناس دي هو بيعرف ده المرحوم فوق ده مرغوب. الكلام ده انا شفته في المطار ده لما كان ده يشيل فارغ، انا شايف الجمهور كان كتير خالص، 6 طائرات وما كفى هم بقى ناس فضلوا. فده يعني بوري انه زولا من وجوده كان موجود بدري ومحبوب. فنحن نادروين مبسوطين جدا بالحضور الموجوده. انا برضه بوعد على المدام قبل كان كذا من ده الناس دي، شفت ناس كثيرين ده كله كانوا يربوا بدون بحات. انت عارفين الحرب بتاع 20 سنه ده شال ناس كثير ويالهم ومحاكم مهتمه بهم بروم لما انت خرجوا بقي زي عدم زي ده. فالعيال بتاعكم الفيل ده ناس بقيوا معهم وريهم حقيقيين معهم ما بننساهم. فانا بشكر الناس الحضور كله. انا هاي الكلام كله انتوا عاملين ما في كلام بس عشان نقدر اقول كلام اكثر من كده. شكرا.
I think that's the best and the quickest speaker of the whole function. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is going to be a representative of Padang Elders, Uncle Honorable Joshua Dow. We definitely would not walk all here, so we have taken a mobile mic there. Feel free to
Honorable Joshua Dana Dengadu and Jam did a quite a Padang. Why you roll a book out to your caro?
Bandi da kuma ban Abdul Baqi Hussein ko dikka baay ci bande na ba chukale din ka pada ba di pada ban ati apyo ko ba ti pyo ba miat ci man ko la dong ci du pyo ko ci man ati ai ci du pyo wo ki pyo miat ci man ko شغال chukale ya redi ci wo ko Temu, dia ni. Macam ni, dia ada pakai kerja. Wun pol, akhirnya gogren. Ayah lah gogren, akhirnya yang wun, Bith Deng. Kurang mungkin, ini nak celur ini ada ni. Ada ibu yin, tapi cint pol muk, macam ia go, macam bayi loy. In mana siai, bagaimana pol, bagaimana kerja nak. Mong chao kis kun muk kula ka muk na ka si ki pol be nyam be ka we bi ki go ki ki me won muk bu den chol ye chu ku bi ba dan lo ka ye ga ma de ye ju ko le be da ye ma muk be ye jing le la na le yan mo ya den an mo ku nim ki dong bi mi lo muk e ka ni chang na le ya man me ye no me da muk ka ka na un jak taw ka chi be muk be mong chi ma na muk Allahจะช่วยเวกเรียนรู้เพียวติงคุณรถก็บายเพียวเวกก็ดิก็บายชิบันบังเฮเซนหินคอร์บุกูเป็นแล้วกันเลยจังผมว่าแล้วก็คุ้มมาดาบันชุกเลยขเชียนโอกเฮียนมอกโปละดองชีเยี่ยงรวยเฉียลอยกระชีบายจริงกับบันกระชีนบันเรือเองงอนนักโปลPol to di rawan lel kuen war ga pi pol chi lel la to pol to conditions ku ke gi kuna ya kim lel ke ko ji pyo heart attack that kill Pol as we have known and we have read his theology and his background in education. He was a genius, and all of you who are educated here, you know what an IQ, high IQ is. Once you don't utilize the IQ, that cleverness, you stumble, you kill the person if you have not utilized it. That's what the Americans and the Europeans have done. By sending people who are so clever to the space to discover what is in the moon, what is behind the sky. But here in our country, Mr. Vice President, we employ our highly trained technicians, professionals, experts, and tomorrow we put them on pension without completing the project they have done. This is what has killed Paul. Mr. Vice President, all the representatives of the government, I would say, please convey warm happiness of Padang Nation. Padang Nation has lost their great son, but are grateful to the government. As from yesterday, the Independence Day, when President Salva Kiir declared that feasibility studies be made instead of dredging, digging the water to flow away and allowing the people of Padang and the south to dry to become a desert. Please thank him for us. The south is grateful in the name of Paul Adong. Upper Nile, Malakal would have been destroyed, would have been drowned if the river Nam and Bahar Ghazal was drained, was dug deep 5 meters as these things have come. And Paul Adong died saying, don't drain the land. I was one of the people who was fortunate to talk to him on his way to the airport for that treatment, which he did not come back. Please, we are grateful that the government, our government, has decided to let our engineers, national engineers, study the conditions of our country. We are grateful for that. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Uncle Honorable Joshua Dow, for the remarks. Your Excellency, we would want to make a few rearrangement of the program. There are a few names we shall skip, and we apologize. Like, for instance, the next speaker is supposed to be a family friend, who is Chief Paulino Juma. Malish, we really apologize. Friends will be represented by Dr. Mayig. I think we can speak to you at the family level, so number 14 shall be skipped. Right now, I will also be skipping number 16. We had planned to have a remark by the MP of Niger Delta, who is not here, but he was supposed to be represented by our colleague Babatunde. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, so I call upon Dr. Mayig Koryom, the representative of Paul's friend, to be giving his remarks and to be as precise as possible. If there is a person I would want to rob of time, it's Dr. Mayig. So instead of giving him 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes, we should be okay.
Rana ben jam mana ke diktor Mayig do Korea ben jam ni nyere mat ka dong ke de ku mat ka dong a cha tiwan a chik la pare a chik la yeda a chik ta era a chik jwar a go wan me den a go ke tiak in chugle ku chu ye yulo.
Okay, His Excellency Hussein Abdul Babi Akol, the Vice President for Service Cluster. All protocol is highly observed. Since we were given only 1.5 minutes, let me just talk directly to anybody who's a friend of Paul, who's attending today. Please, can you stand up? Please, can you stand up? Anybody who knows Paul as a friend, please, can you stand up? Malake, just have a look at everybody who's here right now. Those are the close friends of Paul, who were not born by his own mother, but they became the true friend to Paul. All of us were highly indebted to Paul in one way or another. All of us have been touched by Paul in different ways. Paul was not only a friend, Paul was a mentor, Paul was a brother, Paul was someone who can listen to you when you are in need. He is someone who is there for everyone, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of nationality. Paul was for everyone. And those people that you see right now is testimony. How Paul touched our hearts. Our brother Paul
we're never going to say goodbye, but we'll tell you till we meet again. And man at here, we are going to be with you all along the way as you raise those two young kids, Atiye and Deng. Those are our kids. Those are our responsibility. Paul has been there for all of us. It's time right now that we should be there for Paul and his kids. So please, let's stand always by the family. Paul was always there for us. And right now we have to be for Paul. Thank you so much, all the friends that you see around here. And we are going to meet, you're going to see us more and more in the house. And okay, we are going to be there with you always, all the time. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Dictor, thank you very much. We also had in the program what we have written as JOC's representative. Ladies and gentlemen, because of the weather condition, definitely all the JOCs will be represented by the NIPED MD. So you have to excuse us for that. We call upon Dr. John Denton to give his remarks.
Editor Jordan David, my bank in Nigeria, Wajatin, or Jenkoi, Taiwan, Nigeria, China, Taiwan, Taiwan, in 2 days, you're going to qualify.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 5. Verse 4. Your Excellency Hussein Abdullah Yakon, Vice President, Honorable Garwal Bideng, Advisor on Security Affairs for His Excellency the President, all ministers, dear ones, I greet you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I would like to switch to Arabic so that most of those who are here can hear what I'm saying. أنا أقول إنه ليدي إنجينير بول أدونغ هو أخ وزميل في العمل وفي الكثير من الحاجات، وأنا بديكم جزء من التفاصيل. أنا قابلت إنجينير بول أدونغ في العام 1997 عندما دخل جامعة الخرطوم كلية الهندسة. أنا كنت في ذلك الوقت في جامعة الخرطوم كلية الهندسة، وبول كان ناشط شأنه في ذلك شأن الكثير من الرفاق دخلوا الجامعة في ذلك الوقت، ودخل الجبهة الوطنية الأفريقية ANF من أوسع أبوابها. وكذلك بول كان ناشط طلابي، كان في الاتحاد بتاع طلاب جنوب السودان بجامعة جوبا. في ذلك الوقت المبكر من عمره الدراسي بول كان معروف بآرائه السياسية يعني القوية، وكان يعني زول عنده كاريزما. بول عمل سنتين في جامعة جوبا، وبعد سنة ثانية هو مشى ماليزيا ودرس هناك. بول كان محب للسلام، بالرغم من زمنه في ماليزيا كان على اتصال دائم بزملائه في السودان آنذاك. ولما رجع من ماليزيا بعد تخرجه لقى انه الANF او السيل بتاع الحركه الشعبيه في ANF كان انشغل لاثنين. بول حاول رابط الصدع بين الرفاق، واتصل بكثير من الرفاق عشان هو يلم الANF. الخطوه دي ما تمت الا في العام 2004 او 2005 لما قام دكتور جون غارندي مبيور باستدعاء كافه القيادات الطلابيه الى نيو سايد. فدكتور جون مشى لما التيمين اللي كانوا ينشقوا في نايبل، وده كان مجهود بول اوريدي كان قاموا قبل سنتين من ذلك التاريخ. فممكن نشوف انه بول شخص محب للسلام ومحب للعمل الجماعي. في العام 2009 لما رجعت من هولندا قلت أنا أول زول أنا جيت قابلته وخرجنا معا، شجعني وشجعته على إنه هو يمشي للماجستير. ليترون في العام 2010 كمل الماجستير بتاعه. كنت بزور بول طوالي كل ما أجي لجوبا هنا، وكنا بنقعد حتى لما كان نايب لسه في KCB، وكنت حريص على زيارة نفرين أو 3 كل ما جيت جوبا. واحد منهم الباشمهندس نتال المرقوة، نمرة 2 هو إنجينير بول أدونغ والرفيق ستيفن دير داو، وكانوا بيرحبوا كل ما أجي راجع خلال دراستي للPhD. بول برضو هو الزول اللي شغال في نايل في العام 2014 وبتوصية من الأخ ستيفن دير داو. وبول هو الزول اللي وظفني في نايل، وأنا اشتغلت في التدريب لغاية ما لقيت MD في العام 2017. بول أنا ما غيرته كMD ولا غيرني ولا كان في بيننا أي احتكاك سلبي. أنا قابلنا مؤخرا في جسمان البرهوم جول دينا أكير، وتجاوزنا طرف الحديث، وعمر بليان كان موجود معنا في ذلك المكان. بول كمان له أفكار تجارية ودائما يطلع للأحسن، وأخذ نايبت من شركة صغيرة إلى شركة كبيرة. فنايبت قفزت قفزات في عهد إنجينير بول، وهو أضاف لما بدأه دكتور أجيب وممنون خليل اللي كانوا سبقوه في إدارة نايبت. أعطاه بول للناس اللي بيعرفوه هيمتد لأجيال وأجيال، لأنه بول لمس حياة الكثير من الجنوبيين سواء كان بشكل مباشر أو غير مباشر. وانتم شفتوا نجاح بول في أدونغ بتروليوم، بالرغم من انها هي شركه صغيره عندها بس 6 سنه. أدونغ بتروليوم قفزت من شركه وطنيه صغيره الى شركه عالميه، وما وجود الدكتور اللي تكلم قبالي هو نائب الرئيس الا دليل على ذلك النجاح المنقطع النظير. فقده هيكون فقد كبير مش للاسره وبس، مش لزملائه، مش لروي، بل لكل جنوب السودان، لما كان له من دور ريادي نافذ وشجاعة. يعني كان هو العنوان بتاعه. أنا بقول لماما ما نبي إنه قال يقول تورين كم غودية ويمي ذكرين ويمي ماتك ويمي كلويين ونادي كاجي كتشوه غلط. لكن يجوان نرجع بتوقع لأنه بيوكا بولا موتك وجين ين ما نتيجة كبالغين أنا وو بتوين وبكوجين وميتك أشيك دومو بنتو تاو كبولا تاو. شكرا.
Your Excellency, a few rearrangement once again. If you see from the program, we had number 19, we should have listened to Honorable Malwal Tapdeo, we should have represented the Unity State Government. But we have collectively decided that since Chief Administrative Area, the Chief for the Rural Administrative Area will be speaking, he will represent both Unity State and Rural Administrative Area. So Honorable Malwal, we appreciate that. Next speaker is the representative of the Ministry of Petroleum. We have been made to understand that the Minister has traveled and he sent in his apologies. So the Ministry is going to be represented by Honorable Machara Chega there. You are welcome to give you a few remarks.
Rana Benjam, Ninjana Wazara Bitrol, Kewada, Honorable Machara Chega there, Mana, that advisor did Wazara, Chulur, Kuchungil to Nakachi, Deglakoba.
السيد حسين الباقي نائب رئيس الجمهورية ومسؤول عن الخدمات، السيد توت قدواق مستشار الأمن لرئيس الجمهورية، سعادة الوزراء، السلام عليكم جميعا. أنا حقيقة كنت جاي عشان أشارك كمشاركة عضو في قطاع البترول، لكن فوجئت الآن بأن أتكلم نيابة عن الوزير، وده مهمة كبيرة جدا. أنا ما بقدر أقول السياسة بتاع الوزير كوزير، لكن الوزارة مسؤول عن البترول أمام شعب جنوب السودان. علشان كده شركات البترول، كل شركات البترول بتاخد التصاريح من وزارة البترول. وبول أدونغ كواحد اشتغل كمدير عام لنايل بيت ومستشار فني في وزارة البترول، الكلام الوارد كله في الكتيب أنا اعتمدت نيابة على الوزير. الكلام اللي كتبه كله ده أنا كتمته كله حقيقة. المشكلة وين الآن؟ The world is moving from fossil fuel to non-fossil fuel. الناس دايرين يخلي البترول ويمشي للطاقة الشمسية البدائل الأخرى لغاية سنة 2050، وكنا محتاجين لفول في الفترة بتاعت 28 سنة ده عشان نستغله، نستفيد من 28 سنة ده، نستفيد منه، لأنه بول عنده أفكار كويسة جدا جدا. وزي ما ذكرت هو درس في ماليزيا، واحد من الشركات العاملة في مجال البترول حاليا بتروناس، كان نمبر 2 شير هولدر، الماجورتي شير هولدر لCNPC، ويشتغل في عمان، وده كله بترول. فهذا الشخص كان نحن في وزارة نعتمد عليه عشان يساعدنا في تغيير من البترول لبدائل أخرى like wind, like solar. البحرنا ده كده المقوى ما بنستفيد منه لأنه very few can understand this. فنحن فكرنا هو جروب صعب جدا، وهو واحد من مهندسين التراس الأولى first class engineer. We have lost him, and all the rest ما ذكرته إنه كل الكلام الورد في كتيب. فأنا من هنا الكلمات بتاع مدام بول ده كفاء من الأسرة ومهندس مجيد. انتم طبعا الشركة دائما بيكون في شيرز. الشيرز انت مسكت المسؤولية انه you will take care of children of Paul. فأنا ما أقدر أتكلم في الحتة ده. في مشكلة بتاعت environmental auditing. مش في بس أتكلم عنه. Please. That's where we need your expertise. And I think I will stop here. I have been stopped. Shukran. Thank you. Okay, Kot Yang.
I understand there is supposed to be an announcement that Honorable Atanyuwego was supposed to make, but right now I have been made to understand that His Excellency the Vice President would want to speak and probably leave. And for protocol purpose, I could move and see.
Take this.
Call reason, I thought I could consult to see who should be inviting the President's representative before we can move here.
This one. Put this one.
We would like to invite the Chief
and all the distinguished gathering who participated in making this very dignified ceremony of the life and legacy of my brother a success today. I thank you all in the name of my brother, Engineer Paul Adong. Your Excellency, I began my remarks by this serenity prayer that was almost written more than 200 years ago. Because as it was stated in the eulogy, the departure of my brother is extremely devastating. And therefore, it is hard for all of us. Maybe we were all in shock just to accept it as simple as it was announced that Paul is no longer with us. Therefore, I pray that we shall have the courage to continue doing all the work that has been mentioned in all the former speakers and in the eulogy as well, and many others that would have been mentioned if all other people who were planned to speak in today's program to speak on what they know about Paul. Your Excellency, as it was mentioned, Paul was a transformative leader, and I give a testimony on this. On my own behalf, on behalf of the Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Right Honorable Jemanu Kumba, and on behalf of the Speaker of the Council of States, Right Honorable Deng Deng Akon, and on my own behalf, as well as all the colleagues who would have mentioned a lot if they were given time. Your Excellency, Right Honorable Jema is conveying her tributes, and few days ago actually she was talking to me that Paul met her actually less than a month when he departed before this sad event, and there was a national activity, national projects. Actually, they were discussing that Paul was discussing with the Right Honorable Jema, and she was very sad when she heard this news. So I'm here to convey to the people of South Sudan and to the mourners here, and as well to the family, the message of condolences from the Right Honorable Speaker Jema Nonokumba. Your Excellency, I spoke with Paul the last time on the 14th of June, and he was the one who called from Dubai. He said that he's coming on Sunday. That was the day he was discovered to be dead. So to me it is shocking also, as it was mentioned that there are so many questions around his death. But what can we do about this? When I talked with him for the last time, his voice was full of life, and he was talking about so many initiatives that we were supposed to do together. He even suggested that we could have an online meeting if there are some activities that could not wait until he come on Sunday. So, like Abraham was questioning God. I know in the Bible many of us know this. When he was saying, God, if there are only 50 people, can't you forgive? يعني ما ممكن تسامح ناس بتاعت سدوم وعمورة كان في 50 ناس كويسين. أبراهام كان بيسأل ربنا كان في 20 نفر كان في 10 ما ممكن تسامحهم. So if I would have the same faith of Abraham, I would have asked God, ربنا إنت كان بخلي لنا بول شوية لأنه كان في حاجات كتير كان بيعملوا. There was a document Paul shared with me on the 13th of September 2021, and I know Ambassador Mayandud is here, Mayi Koryam is here, and Dr. Well, the former Deputy Speaker of the TNNA. In that document, Paul was telling us if there is an advocacy, if there is discussion about things to enhance the current situation of our country. In that document, Paul talked about 3 things. He mentioned the need for the party, and I'm happy that my comrade, Peter Lambert, is here. He was talking about the role of the SPLM in bringing together the scattered fabric of this nation. Number 2, Paul talked about the need for the youth to be employed, and he suggested a desk or a commission for youth employment. And number 3, Paul talked about the need for the government to prioritize regular payment for the civil servant and the military. I know the 3 people I've mentioned, they have received the same document. Paul was a center in our community for the people of Ruwen. He was a center because, as Madam Sarah mentioned, his home was open always for the members of the community and for his friends to sit and to discuss issues related to the development and to the progress of this nation and his community as well. Paul was a bridge. We can look at ourselves here. We are not from one tribe. We are not from one culture. We are coming from different backgrounds. We are even coming, some of us are from the region and from the globe also. So Paul was a bridge to bring us all together. And we can attest when all of us stood to testify that we were close, we were friends, we were brothers, and we were close to Paul. So he was a bridge. He was multilingual, can be Kalam, as it was mentioned, Theology Hago. Paul was very courageous. He speaks up. He was not a minister, but he has the influence. He has the power of influence to influence the decision makers. Paul was not a member of parliament, but he represented us and even the people of South Sudan very well. As it was mentioned, some of this representation was beyond the continent here. Paul was concerned about the affairs of his community and as well the people of South Sudan. And therefore, definitely, all of us as Ruwen and the people of South Sudan, we will miss him and we will miss his services. Your Excellency, allow me, before I leave the podium, because a lot would have been said, it's time to allow me to congratulate the people of South Sudan. Yesterday, we celebrated the 11th anniversary of our independence. It's not only a congratulation, but I'm here to remind ourselves in the name of this occasion that we are organizing in the name of our brother Paul. To remind ourselves that independence means responsibility. A responsibility
ويخلف علينا الخيرات. بعد نحن فقدنا أخونا بولا دونغ. موت بتاع بولا دونغ ما صحيح، وده حاجة صعب جدا. وأنا برجع نذكر يوم جاء خبر بتاع وفاة أخونا بولا دونغ يوم 17، وجانا خبر أخونا مناوة. كان أنا شخصيا كنت متوتر جدا، حتى يوم نحن جينا عملنا التعبين بتاع أخونا مناوة ومشيت شوفناه في آخر لحظات، نحن كنا متوترين جدا، مش خوفا للموت، لكن كان واحد بيسأل نفسه ده شنو اللي بيشيل شباب صغار، لأنه يزول فينا عنده عمل هنا يعيش ويكمل الأمور بتاعه، لكن جسدنا الجسد ده في النص هنا يجي يشيل ناس كان صعب جدا، وده كان بسبب بتاع التوتر بتاع الناس. برضو الناس ذاته ربنا يختار مشاعرهم في الوقت ده كان ما ناس عاينين في المجتمع بتاعنا، في وسط شباب وفي وسط المجتمع بتاع الجنوب، حتى دول الجوار كان عنده معارف، فده كان خوف الحقيقة لكلام ده حصل. أنا عرفت أخونا بولا دونغ 2012، وأنا تواصلت معه 2012 13 14، وواحد من الحاجات نحن كنا قاعدين ناقش وقاعد نتواصل معه فيه كان قضية بتاعت نايل باد، لما كان في حديث إنه يكون شركة خاصة أو يكون شركة في قطاع عام، وزمن ده كان زمن بتاع وزير المرحوم جون لوك، كان فيه نقاش حاد جدا، وأنا كنت قاعد أواصل معه في هذا اللحظات. لما بعدها وزير شال القصة وضم الشركة بتاع النايفات للقطاع العام. فنفس الأيام أنا عرفته إنه هو صغير في عمر، لكن ده زول كوف خالص، وزول ملتزم، وزول مرتب ومجتهد، وكان عنده مقترحات دائما اللي بتفيد الناس في المرحلة اللي نحن فيها ده. ففقدانه ده ما حاجة صعبة بالنسبة لنا وللمجتمع حقنا، عشان كده نحن لازم نسأل أنفسنا ونسأل ربنا، هل الابتلاءات اللي انت عديته لجنوب السودان ما ممكن يجيب؟ عشان نحن بعد أخوانا، بعد بولا دونغ وبعد مناوة وبعد الوفيات اللي حصل قريب ده كله، نحن ما مستعدين نستقبل أي وفاة بتاع زول كوف، بتاع زول مجتهد، بتاع زول عنده كفاءات في نفس الأيام. عشان كده أنا داير نقول كلام للأسرة، وخاصة الأخت سارة. يا أخت سارة، نحن كلنا بنحب أخونا بولا دونغ ونحن فقدناه، وعشان نحن نكون نذكر بولا دونغ عندك مسؤولية كبيرة جدا. ربنا يختارك عشان انت تكون لأولاده، وعشان كده نحن دايرينك تهتم بالأولاد وتعلمهم وتصنع منهم 2 و3 بولا دونغ منهم في المجتمع، عشان المجتمع يمشي لقدام، وهو بيناتهم حاجة البرنامج هنا بول دونغ مع الناس. فده مهمة بتاعنا ونحن دايرينه تعمله، وزي مهمة ربنا أداها لأمنا مع بولا دونغ، نحن دايرينك برضو تتواصل بنفس المشوار زي ما ربى أولاده وبقى الشعب وبقى أخو الناس كله وبقى زول شغال البلد كله. فبالتالي مهام ده مهام لازم انت تجتهد عشان القصة ده تم الأولاد تربي أولاد بصورة البردي المرهوم وبصورة البردينا كلنا، ونحن نكون فخورين لو أنت نجحت هذا المهمة. نحن هنا اختلاف كثير، والمشاكل نحن الموجودين فيها ده مشاكل بدأ من فترة طويل جدا، وخاصة في ناس اتكلموا قبل شوية عن إنه في واحد ذكر من كبارنا إنه الموت بتاع كولا ده يمكن يكون شايل هم أو ما كان عاجبه قواده وعنده إمكانيات عشان يخدم ناس، وده وكان بيشير إنه الكلام ده لو كان ناس قاعدين يدون فرصة عشان يواصلوا في شغلهم، عشان واحد ينجح مشروعات اللي هو كان خططه، كان ما موت بتاع أخونا كول ما جاء. فعلا ده كلام ده صحيح، لكن بلدنا ما مستقر، استقرار سياسي ما موجود. لو كان في استقرار سياسي كان كولا داون كان لسه موجود في المنصب بتاعه وكان هيقعد أكثر من كده، لكن عشان مشاكل الموجود بيناتنا وفي بلدنا ده ما بخلي ما بدي الناس فرص عشان واحد يواصل في برنامجه. فده نقول ده واحد من الابتلاءات ربنا ابتلانا به، وإن شاء الله بعد العيد الاستقلال بتاعنا جادة ومن الليل لقدام إن شاء الله ربنا برضو يدينا رحمة عشان يزيل من العقبات في يجيب سلام في بلدنا، ويكون في الاستقرار تام عشان كل دول يلقى حقه ويواصل بكل ارتياح عشان ربنا عشان هو يحقق ما في نيته للشعب بتاعه. فده كلامي ده أقوله. في حديث في يومين ديل ناس بيتكلموا كثير عن مشكلة بتاعت الدريجة والكنال بتاع الجمهورية. نحن رئيس حسم كلام ده قبل يومين وقال يا جماعة الكلام ده لازم يجيب وناس يقدموا دراسات. بعد ما يقدموا دراسات لو في حديث بعدها الناس المفروض يتكلموا فيه، لأنه في خلاف. في ناس بيفتكروا إنه الدريجة يعني الكليرة بتاعت الأعشاب في البحر، وفي ناس بيفتكروا إنه ده نظافة بتاع الرمال في مجرى، وفي ناس بيفتكروا إنه القصة ده دايرين يعمقوا البحر عشان المويه كله يصب في المجرى ويطلع ليكون فايدة لبلدان أخرى. وفي ناس بيفتكروا ناس دايرين يبدأوا بمشروع بتاع بريجر كنظافة، لكن بصب في إنه ناس يفتحوا قناة بتاع الجنجلات. كل حاجات ده المخاوفات الموجود، لكن نحن في المجلس الوزراء اتكلمنا عن النظافة فقط، والنظافة ذاته ما بدأ، هيكون في دراسات وبعد ما مجلس الوزراء ينتهي منه ويجيزوا هيمشي للبرلمان، والبرلمان برضه هيشوف هيفت في الساحة الغلط يشيله برا ويقوم ينظم المطلوب وناس يمشوا لقدام. عشان كده نحن بعد ما رئيس عمل قرار بتاع انه يوقف الدريجة، افتكر كل زول لقى حقه وناس يرجعوا ويجيبوا اكسبرت سو كان ناشونال اور انترناشونال عشان نحن نقوم نمرق من الوهله اللي نحن فيها ونوعد المجتمع بتاعنا ونوعد الشعب بتاعنا او المشروع الممكن يستفيد منه الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان. صحيح شباب كثير جدا ما عندهم الوظائف، والمشكله بتاعت الوظائف بقى مشكله للشباب، وفي قوانين قاعدين يسنوا فيه وناس شغالين فيه. هسه في وزير بتاع ليبر موجود هنا شغال وعرق قوانين كثير ومرق قدام مجلس الوزراء ثم هيمشي للبرلمان وبرضه هيساعد في القطاع الخاص والقطاع العام. القوانين اللي ممكن ناس يستفيدوا منه لتوظيف الشباب، والناس زي ما انا قلت برضه بدون الاستقرار السياسي في البلد ده برضه مشكله بيكون لا زال موجود، لان الاستقرار السياسي بخلي الناس ينفتحوا ويعمل حاجات كثيرة عشان كل زول يلقى فرصة عشان يشتغل. ده حاجة مهم جدا. موضوع بتاع payment بتاع salaries ناس شغالين فيه، وحتى الآن في زيادة المرتبات ناس شغالين فيه برضه، ونحن محتاجين في خلال الأسابيع الجاي لما الوزير يقول في قانون بتاع المرتبات هيقدموا لنا من الوزراء، ونحن شغالين ككلاستر بتاع سيرفيس عشان نزيد المرتبات. وفي 4 سيناريوهات نحن قدمناه وقسمنا واحد منهم، وواحد منهم برضه قدمناه لمجلس الوزراء، ونحن محتاجين عشان نمرر برضه قانون بتاع السالاريز. وان شاء الله بعد ما مجلس الوزراء يقدموا ويمشي للبرلمان ان شاء الله هتشهدوا ثمره بتاعه غريب عاجل. افتكر النادي هنا عندنا نشكركم ونشكر الوضوء كله. وبصراحه كلمني واحد من ناسنا القاعدين فيه هنا قال المطر نزل ده ما نزل جوبا كله، ده مطر بتاع كولا ده نزل هنا بس في دايره بتاعنا نحن قاعدين نصلي فوق. فنحن بنتمنى من مولا عز وجل انه يشيل اخونا كولا ده ياخده في الجنان ويدينا خلافه سمع ويبارك على ذريته في الارض هنا، ويدي خير الاسره ويدينا كلنا خير. والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
Chugle yaret bang. Chugle yaret bangi de bain we takigalo.
This is close. Yeah. Call the church close.
Yeah. Okay. شكرا جزيلا نائب رئيس الجمهورية لشؤون الخدمات السيد حسين عبد الباقي أي يقول لكلمات قوية. من الإعلانات بسيط في المنصة. تعلن أسرة أيار دينغ في يوم 16 من هذا الشهر صلوات الأربعين للراحل مياك أيار دينغ الزمان 16 يوليو، المكان منزل الراحل في 107 جوان مرسى كامبالا للأساس.
أيب
Alas mai ka puyo kaya kanisa ko ko long ko gula na pa de bai wi bi jan. Ubado be la na ko bito jo cha.
Kata long ko ko itu kele kuma da ku la bai ban kanisa ne wani kele ma ma ni be kun kai dan na kiti ngaban. Ne kiti rolo. Lampo. The peace of God which passes all understanding. Keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of His Son Jesus Christ, and the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be among you and remain with you always. Amen. Arab maakum jami'an. It's time for announcement. I think those who have already started moving can continue to move as we make these announcements. We have some apologies from Honorable Josephine Napuan, who could not attend today's prayer because she's in New York. Apology from Honorable Emmanuel Adil Anthony, Governor of Central Equatorial State. He could not attend today's function because he's in Yei. Apology from Honorable Port Kang Chol, the Minister of Petroleum, who is out of the country in Canada. Apology from Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Jema Nono Kumba. We have a number of written condolence messages which we could not read, but we got one from His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit. We got another condolence message from the Office of the President of the Republic of Uganda, from a senior presidential advisor on special duties, Mr. Andre Rabwago. We also had some condolence message from Uruwen community in Juba. We had another one from Panaruyu Association in Juba and another one from Niad Oil Fields.